4 a.m. First Fruits. This is a chapter by chapter Bible study series, and we are in 1 Kings chapter 11. The last chapter, we read about Queen Sheba and how she came to visit Solomon. God took her breath away. She was amazed by Solomon's wisdom, a man blessed by the Lord. Saw how Solomon was blessed. She gifted him with tons of spices. Spice, baby. We read about Solomon's wealth. It just seemed like this was the last great chapter before, unfortunately, things go bad for Solomon. We also drew a line from Queen Sheba and Matthew 12, which is quite awesome. 1 Kings chapter 11. King Solomon loved many foreign women, in addition to Pharaoh's daughter, Moabite, Ammonite, Edomite, Sidonian, and the Hittite women from the nations about which the Lord had told the Israelites, "You must not intermarry with them, and they must not intermarry with you, because they will turn your heart away to follow their gods." To these women, Solomon was deeply attached in love. In KJV, it says he clave to these loves. He loved them more than he loved the Lord. He had 700 wives who were princesses and 300 who were concubines, and they turned his heart away. When Solomon was old, his wives turned his heart away to follow other gods. He was not wholeheartedly devoted to the Lord his God as his father David had been. KJV said that his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David. Partial devotion, not fully devoted, just like Jesus says you can't serve two masters. You will love one and hate the other, and sometimes it's unintentionally. Sometimes you don't even know. It almost seems like Solomon was collecting wives and trying to collect gods. Verse 5, Solomon followed Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Milcom, the abhorrent idol of the Ammonites. Solomon did what was evil in the Lord's sight, and unlike his father David, he did not remain loyal to the Lord. At that time, Solomon built a high place for Chemosh, the abhorrent idol of Moab, and for Milcom, the abhorrent idol of the Ammonites, on the hill across from Jerusalem. He did the same for all of his foreign wives who were burning incense and offering sacrifices to their gods. So some scholars believe that Molech and Milcom were the same gods, the same deities, but other scholars believe that they're two separates. So KJV, it mentions Molech as well, and so CSB did not mention Molech, which I don't like that. He was worshiping them, offering shrines and creating high places for his wives to worship and for him to worship. So he was doing this out of love for his wives and not out of love for his God. If you ever study these false gods, there's a lot of biblical connection pairing these deities to demons. As a kid, you grow up reading this and you think, oh, they were just worshiping a golden calf. Okay, no big deal. Like, I'm never gonna bow down to worship to a calf. Well, it's so deceitful, you don't even realize that you're doing it. In Deuteronomy 32:17, it talks about how the Israelites were sacrificing to demons. In Psalms 106:37, it talked about how they were doing child sacrifices to pagan deities, to the devils. In 1 Corinthians 10:20, Paul gave this warning. No, but I do say that what they sacrifice to demons and not to God. I do not want you to participate with demons. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons. You cannot share in the Lord's table and the table of demons. Or are we provoking the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he? 1 Kings 11 verse 9, the Lord was angry with Solomon because his heart had turned away from the Lord, the God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice. Good point. He had commanded him about this so that he would not follow other gods, but Solomon did not do what the Lord had commanded. The Lord said to Solomon, "Since you have done this and did not keep my covenants and my statutes, which I commanded you, I will tear the kingdom away from you and give it to your servant. However, I will not do it during your lifetime. For the sake of your father David, I will tear it out of your son's hands. Yet I will not tear the entire kingdom away from him. I will give one tribe to your son for the sake of my servant David and for the sake of Jerusalem that I chose." Then it goes on to mention that God raises up some enemies of Solomon. One named Hadad, one named Rezin, and then one named Jeroboam. A prophet named Ahijah comes to Jeroboam and delivers news from God saying, "Listen, I'm going to give you 10 tribes of Israel. Basically, the kingdom will be divided again. Make sure you obey my commands." He gives him another stark warning for Jeroboam. And it also says in 39, "I will humble David's descendants because of their unfaithfulness, but not forever," because Jesus. It goes on to mention that Solomon just dies. Solomon's death. And then Solomon's son Rehoboam became king in his place. Solomon's love for his wives overshadowed his love for God. So much that over time he was worshiping other gods altogether. We have to be careful because there's modern manifestations of this false idol worship. Obsession with money, status, worship of self, addiction, self-sacrificing, and there's entire unconscious worship to false idols. Just like they built the golden calf and listed it as to the unknown God in Acts 17. And this is why what we listen to is important. What we watch is important. Things that we meditate on is important. Because if that song is glorifying sex, if that song is glorifying drugs, lust, things of false gods, things of demons, then we are worshiping things of demons. We have to be careful. That's why it says to guard your heart. Because everything you do flows from it. And your heart, when it mentions your heart, it's talking about your mind. Your mind is the one that has the thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the next 4 a.m. when we read chapter 12.